Hey, Ray J is back with another video, Tesla family. This time I just want to quickly update everyone on the market breakdown as well as the Q, Tesla, SPY, and a few other tickers. I will also discuss the most likely information before to Jerome Powell's address, which is scheduled to begin in just over an hour. However, before I go into detail about Jerome Powell's speech date and how it might impact the market, let me clarify that I am not a financial planner, so please do not interpret anything I say as financial advice. Additionally, if it's possible, kindly click the Webull link that appears below and in the Webull description. If you make a $500 deposit into the account, you will receive 20 complimentary stocks. If you make a deposit of at least $25,000, you will receive 75 free stocks. Offer expires in a few weeks, which is quite fast. In any case, I predicted that Tesla may slightly decline in the morning and then seize liquidity all the way down to the 162 to 164 zone. Then I predicted that the market may rise later in the day, which might potentially assist Tesla in moving up to the upper zone. That is precisely what transpired, particularly in light of the recently released statistics. Jerome Powell, however, is going to be another factor. I'll be discussing that in a moment, and after that, I'll quickly go over the charts. What is going on now, then? I just wanted to let you know that more news is emerging regarding Tesla receiving downgrades and more experts are predicting more downside. Another HSBC analyst has stated that Tesla may experience further declines. Additionally, they maintained a lower rating for Tesla and lowered their price estimates to roughly $138 per share. Additionally, they're hinting that Tesla's stock price may drop by 17% from its current level. As a result of the delivery issues and other challenges that are impacting them on a macroeconomic level, we are witnessing an increase in the number of experts expressing this opinion. I told you all about this yesterday, so don't be shocked to hear this kind of news. Furthermore, as of right now, Tesla isn't really falling due of this because it already plummeted so much. However, Tesla may suffer if unfavorable triggers continue to surface, so you should be ready for it. But as of right now, just as we anticipated, Tesla is slightly outperforming the market. What is the current state of the markets then? I simply wanted to let everyone know that at 10 a.m. I issued a warning about volatility, and we witnessed a significant shift on SPY which boosted 2 points in around 5 minutes. Thus, SPY had a massive pump in just 5 minutes, which also assisted in the market's pump. It was because of the release of the ISM services data that Aapl decided to follow Nvda's lead. It's not terrible that the PMI was below forecasts, but new orders and prices will be the two main factors I watch. According to the data released here, prices for this seat are likewise lower and new orders are actually fewer than anticipated. This is rather better news for inflation since it implies that the economy is slowing down for this particular industry. As a result, the market jumped when this somewhat positive news was announced. We now have another release scheduled for 12:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jerome Powell is currently delivering a speech. We'll see if Powell pumps us or not because the market will react to everything Powell says. It begins at 12:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is a little more than an hour after the release time of this film. So what do I think the market will hold? How do I think things are going? Let's dissect this. Tesla entered this liquidity zone by slightly declining. In contrast to this low, we actually made a higher low, and we are currently attempting to push to our 20 EMA at 166.1737. Also, resistance is present at 167.5, indicating that Tesla is indeed making some progress and appears to be doing well at this point, and Powell will choose whether or not this action is carried out. Currently, the market is extremely bullish ahead of Powell's speech, so if Powell manipulates the market much, Tesla may attempt to challenge 167.5 if this is broken. We may even approach 170. I think Tesla may quickly drop back down to approximately 162 if Powell pulls a rug. There is a chance that Tesla will really go higher because of the chart's bullish appearance, but nothing can be guaranteed since Jerome Powell is the deciding factor. Just bear in mind that the chart appears to be displaying some life, which may potentially be a good thing. When SPY dropped below 517.5 in the morning, I instructed you to watch support at this location. Anticipate a move in the opposite way back up if we produce a higher low in relation to this low, and that's exactly what happened. We experienced a pleasant bounce. Thus, I will be examining resistance at a critical resistance that is essentially very near to 521. Here is where prior support turned into resistance, and at 522.com, we likewise need to close this gap. The SPY is attempting to rise and appears bullish, but there's a major but Jerome Powell is also expected, and it's unclear what kind of trouble he might produce. The market is really upbeat when he delivers his remarks. Powell's market manipulation may easily push SPY to 522 or higher. Powell might yank the rug from under SPY, bringing it back down to 518 or even lower. 516 might make a reappearance. Given how much it dropped in such a short time, it appears that it will attempt to rise again, but we'll have to wait and see what Powell has to say. To be objective, I will tell you that everything relies on what he says. Now he could say anything he wanted to. He might give us more of a boost now that certain economic statistics came out favorably, but who knows? Right now, the market is doing fairly nicely. Essentially the same thing for the QQQ. After a strong surge over 400-440, we dropped to roughly this 438 zone and are currently observing this resistance area. Thus, this is where we had prior support at 443.25. There is resistance in the 443 region right now. Overall, we went to this precise level, which I had mentioned on the QQQ in my early morning video. Therefore, in the event that Powell continues to push us higher, we will have a gap to close that will take us all the way to 445 or 446. If Powell ends up pulling the rug, we may then return to roughly 440, if not 438. The QQQ is currently exhibiting some life. I think this might go even higher, but it depends on Powell, so try not to get too caught up in that. We'll wait and see what the big guy has to say. The same is true for Aapl, so I simply wanted to point out that the company has this white trend line at resistance, which is its trend line. We are currently testing this 170 area after breaking through this. In my opinion, if Powell's optimism continues, we may close this gap and move up to 171.5. If he puts a lot of pressure on us and we pull the rug, Aapl may drop back to 169 or even below. Watch and see then, and let's see how it turns out. Nvda is heading in the direction of 900, but as I mentioned earlier, it's not as powerful as it once was since, as you can see when you zoom out, it has a good head and shoulders structure. Thus, proceed with caution while using Nvda there, even if it does pump a little amount, because it might really make a lower high or pump a little bit and then finally receive a refusal. But if we just look at the levels and kind of overlook the head and shoulders for the time being, we have resistance at 900 and 908. Support is available at 892 and 888.5. Nvda is holding up really well overall. Powell might push us up to 908 plus, but so far I think it's holding up quite nicely. We'll see. We'll see. Having said that, there is some life in the market. Powell may cause Tesla to go slightly higher or lower. Everything is dependent on his words, which is why the movements are getting better. Permit me to discuss a few more. If we push higher, super micro, keep an eye out for resistance at 1,000, 1,020 above that, and 1,050. Keep an eye on support at 980. 950 is up next if we lose that. This graph appears to be giving some hope for a recovery overall, but we'll have to wait and see what Jerome Powell does. Furthermore, this is indicating some life if we look at Coinbase, not Sophie Coinbase at this time. However, exercise caution as there may be a head and shoulders-like configuration. Though I would still proceed with caution when interpreting this chart, it appears to be showing some life for a brief recovery. It may burst and then fall later. Amzn is attempting to surpass 1825. We might be aiming for 183 once more if we keep going. Watch for a push for 184 plus if we break this. We will be returning to 180 if we receive a rug pull. On Amzn, we appear positive thus far if we lose that. 178 is the next level. Additionally, Meta is trying to break above resistance at 505, which is why it is looking more optimistic. See if we can attempt to break it later and go all the way up to roughly 510 if they start to decline a little. Powell is launching us, so 510 is on the way. We will be plunging all the way back into the 490s if he gives us the finger. Prepare for Powell all in all. I'll be keeping an eye on these charts and simply being patient. He's going to talk in a little over an hour, so prepare yourself, folks, and take care of business as usual. That being said, I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak with you all again in a few hours. With gratitude and goodbye.